Good morning, everyone. We are here today with award-winning novelist and writer Nicholas Sparks. How are you doing today?
I am doing very, very good today. I would like to thank you for having me.
We are very glad that you are on the show today. What have you been up to lately?
Oh, you know the usual, making books and making money.
Let's talk about your new book, Safe Haven. Can you give us an overview or a summary of it to start?
Of course. Safe Haven is a very romantic story about a young woman named Katie. She comes to the city of Southport, North Carolina, and begins living in an old cottage. Nobody knows who she really is, and she is very mysterious. And nobody knows much about her. But as the story progresses, she begins to kind of open up to one of her neighbors, Joe, and the owner of a local grocery, Alex Wheatley. When she meets Joe, she kind of pushes Katie to talk to Alex as if she's trying to push her to get into a relationship with him. At first, Katie doesn't want to because of her past, but you don't know about that yet. But eventually, she does begin a relationship with him and his two children. And everything seems to be going pretty okay at first. But as the story progresses, you learn about Katie's terrible past and her ex-husband. He was a very abusive man and an alcoholic. Katie ends up leaving him secretly, and it drives Kevin into kind of an alcoholic binge, I guess you could say. He ends up getting suspended from work and begins a dedication to finding her. After months of no luck, he eventually breaks into his neighbor's house, the Feldmans, because that was really the only people Katie talked to. He learns of a message that Katie left on the answering machine, and it tells them what she was planning on doing and where she went. He goes to find her in the Southport, and he finds her in the grocery alone at night, and he chases her and throws her to the ground. He lights the grocery on fire and is ready to shoot Katie, but she takes the gun from him in a struggle, and Kevin, her ex-husband, ends up getting shot instead. Alex then arrives and takes Katie and his kids home, where they live happily ever after.
Wow. Could you tell us why and how how Katie escaped?
I could tell you that, but I think you're going to have to read the book to find out. I don't want to ruin it for you people.
Okay. Well, let's talk about the
But wait, I must tell you of the crazy twist I'm sure you didn't see coming.
twist. Please explain.
It turns out that Joe, who was Katie's neighbor and her best friend, was actually the ghost of Alex's wife who died of cancer. It turns out that she was pushing Katie to guide her into falling in love with Alex so he could finally be happy again and get over the tragedy of his ex-wife's death. And it works perfectly. Yes, I know, genius. Thank you, thank you.
Wow, that's crazy. I bet no one saw that coming. Now, tell us, where does this story actually take place?
Well, most of the story is set in Southport, North Carolina, mostly around Katie's cottage and the grocery Alex owns, some parts in Joe's house because Katie visits a lot. But as you learn of Katie's ex-husband, the storyline kind of switches back and forth from Southport to Boston, where she used to live with her ex-husband, mostly around his apartment and where he lives, and around different crime scenes in Boston because he is a crime scene investigator.
Wow, this is nice to see a book that takes place here in the Carolinas. Now, give us an overview of the main characters.
Okay, I would say that there are probably about four main characters in the story. Let's start with the main two, Alex and Katie. Unfortunately for them, they have both had terrible things happen to them in the past. Alex with the death of his ex-wife from cancer, and Katie, who's coming from a very abusive past. Not just from her husband, but her parents as well when she was a kid. And them coming together, the two pieces, they basically fit perfectly, if that makes sense. We also have Joe, Katie's neighbor, which is actually Alex's ex-wife's ghost, who I guess you could say sort of mends them together, and she pushes the story along. Because without her, the two may have never got together, and the storyline may have never took place. And then we had the evil Kevin, who's looking for revenge on Katie for leaving him. And as you can see, he almost succeeds at the end, but fortunately, he fails.
Is this story told from a specific view of a character or by an outside source?
This book is written in third person point of view, and the reason I did it that way is I thought that it would be better that way so that the reader could get a good view of all the feelings and motivations of all the characters very easily in the story.
Well, that was an interesting decision. Is there anything symbolic in the story, like such as things that stand for something else?
Yes, the biggest and most important one by far is the wedding ring that Katie wears on her finger. It is symbolic of all the pain and misery that she had to get rid of for years, and fortunately for her, finally does until the very end. Normally the wedding ring would stand for something that would be happiness or love, but in this case it was used for the exact opposite.
Well, now for the theme of the story. What message did you want the readers to take in by actually writing this book?
That even though through hard times and struggles, never ever give up. Always fight to be happy. No matter what you have to do. Do whatever it takes to make your life what you want it to be. And also, I think that you can get out of this book that friendship is a very important thing because since Katie knows nobody and is keeping a very low profile, I think Joe helps her kind of open up to the outside world and is there for her in every situation, which I think ultimately helps her throughout the entire story.
That's great. I just have a few more questions. What is your inspiration for this book? Why did you write it? And will you ever make it a movie like you have some of your other books?
Well, as you may know, I am a very famous romantic novelist, and I always try to continue with the trend to write love stories that hopefully can appeal to every reader's situation in life. And I think that I've done a pretty good job of that as of now. But my ultimate wish is that people will read this book and be able to relate to past experience so that they really feel attached. And if they feel attached, that means they're going to buy the book. And if they buy the book, that means money for me. And you asked me if I was going to make a movie. Yes, it actually is already a movie, so you need to go watch it. It's very good, and it makes me more money, so it makes me very, very happy.
That is great. This has been a great interview, Mr. Sparks. We thank you so much for coming down here and interviewing with us.
Oh, you are very, very welcome. Thank you for having me. Hey, pick up my book, Safe Haven, and watch the movie. Thank you.
Thank you.